Hey,
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Great. Let me
Good.
give you some volume here. Okay,
All right.
very good. Thank you for having us.
Well, thank you. The pleasure's all mine. And Alexander, it's great to talk to you again.
And great to talk to you. And thank you again for supporting my directorial debut, Black Rose. I remember that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Great movie.
And I remember talking to you that you were a horror fan.
Yes, I am. And see, now we're talking my debut in a horror genre.
Yeah. And I remember you telling me you were a fan of Scream.
Yes. And The Thing, and of course, The Predator, which I still consider a horror film, End of Days, which I consider a horror film. But yeah, of course, original Friday the 13th. I mean, all of that. But let me tell you, I'm a lucky guy because this gentleman over here, he's a huge fan of those movies we mentioned, but also Billy Friedkin's movies, Dario Argento's movies. And that's why Night of the Caregiver is a great movie as it is. But by the way, did you have a chance to check it out?
I did. And you know what?
Did you like it?
I really enjoyed it. And what's kind of scary about it is that, like, there's something kind of unnerving, having someone come into your home. It could be a complete stranger. So I think it's really going to resonate with a lot of people. I know my grandmother, she had, when she was alive, she had caretakers come in. I always kind of wondered how they felt coming into a stranger's house. So, I mean, the story was really unique and I enjoyed it. And Eileen Dietz she was great. That was just like, that was the icing on the cake. So how did you both of you have worked together on previous projects, correct?
We have.
And so I know, so you directed it and you were also in the picture.
Yes.
And I know in what I talked to you about, Black Rose, you directed it and you were in it. And so did you have any problems directing and acting at the same time? Was it anything challenging for you or was it just simple?
For me, or
I know in Black Rose, I think you told me it was kind of difficult at times, and so I was just wondering for Joe if he had the same experience.
Well, I'm about to start my 7th feature-length film, and I have directed and been in all 6 prior films.
Okay.
I directed. The first 3 I wrote as well. So I kind of came on board into this process like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I didn't have time to stop and think about it.
Yeah.
And so here I was in the deep end of the pool, the whole time. But, you think about it's a juggling act. And you got to be one way in front of the lens and another way behind the camera. And you just kind of marry the two, and you don't really look back. You don't try to overthink it. No,
that totally
balance.
Yeah, definitely a balance.
But talking about Black Rose for a second, Joe actually watched Black Rose. It was on Netflix at the time, and that's how we started our conversation even before we made our first movie together. So see, you never know how it will work. But again, huge credit for Joe, because I know how hard it is. I do. I directed 1 movie and acted in it and produced it, whatever. And Joe, did 6 like that. So that's why for me, on Night of the Caregiver, being just a producer, it was kind of like a vacation, because you just produce it. Plus, and you remember all our conversations about my love to the genre, finally, to get into that. And because I'm not acting in the film, I'm kind of just enjoying myself, right? They all work. Joy's working, on both sides of the camera and all of that. But I was making sure everything is, everything's in place. But it was an amazing fun. Hopefully for you too, even before the work you were doing.
It was a great time. All of the pictures we've done together have been all great times because of the people we work with.
Yeah.
And we had a great Night of the Caregiver, and we had a great cast and crew. Everyone just was so positive, which is so important. And there was no drama, no problems. I mean, there's always problems. I'll tell you about one problem in a second, but we had Natalie Denise Spurl, who played the hospice nurse, tremendous talent, really did a fantastic job. And she's always great, but she really did a fantastic job in this picture. And her sort of camaraderie with Eileen Dietz was great. And you could, even though they're sort of in tension in the movie, you know, suspenseful kind of unsure moments, you could see how they worked together because they had this great camaraderie. That they had their own inside jokes. If you remember, they were funny together. They were cracking everybody up, and they just got along great. And they got along with everybody, and it was so much fun. It's so great being in an environment like that. And you know, every horror film should have its legends or creepy stories around it. You know, like the movie The Omen very famously had all these creepy things that supposedly happened on and off set. And most famously, Gregory Peck's airplane was struck by lightning when he was flying over to London to film it. And there are other stories about The Exorcist and weird things that happened. So one night, we did mostly night shoots on this film. And at the location we were at the top of the Hollywood Hills. And it was around 10:45 at night. And that thing that's behind you, that
yes.
Okay. We'll get into that in a minute. But that thing was running around the set, and we were getting ready to set up filming her. And all of a sudden, all the power goes out. And I look out the window, and the power is out all the way down the hill into the valley. Okay. So I'm like, all right, what do we do? So I'm like, okay, we waited about 45 minutes. There's some things you can't control. So I just send everybody home. Everybody's on their way home. And the girl in that makeup there, she drove home many nights like that in her car back to Toluca Lake, which must have been fun for her. Okay. So the owner of the location calls me and says, you're never going to believe this, but everything just went back up. As soon as you all cleared out of here, gone, and everyone was at the bottom of the hill, the power goes back on. So maybe there was something about that thing that, you know, who knows?
Creepy.
Yeah.
Creepy.
That is very creepy. And that's what I was going to ask you where the house was, because the house was also phenomenal and a character within it, you know, in itself. You said that was the Hollywood Hills?
Yes.
That was a great spot. Beautiful.
Yeah, we really lucked out with that. And I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of the art direction was pretty inspired in that, because one of the things that kind of jumps out when Juliet the nurse shows up, there's something that's not quite right about her environment. And there's a great scene between Lillian, the elderly lady, and Juliet the nurse in her kitchen. But if you look at the products that are all lined up on the sink in her kitchen, they're sort of not really of this time. So there's something right away that's off, that's wrong.
Yeah, because there was some modern, a little bit of modern, and then, like you said, there was stuff that wasn't of this time. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch it again to kind of pick out all of those, you know, all the products that were in the kitchen. And I'm sure there was other stuff around too that I didn't quite catch.
Yeah, well, you could watch it several times, I think.
Yeah, and try and pick everything out.
But we tried to do with this, I tried to make it classy. I didn't want to make it like a guttural, visceral, you know, it's got a different look to it completely.
And it's actually important because when we just finished Western, our first movie together, Gunfight with Leo Bravo, which is actually available right now everywhere, and it's a very successful movie, and actually my debut in the Western genre. So as soon as we're done with my debut in the Western genre, so me and Joe, we were in Beverly Hills having a cigar, and I told him, Joe, I have a very interesting script written by the same writer who wrote Gunfight at Rio Bravo, but it's a horror. And Joe looked at me and said, Alexander, I know you're a big fan of horror. I know you like Arnold's kind of horror, which is not really horror because it's Arnold, and, you know, in the action movies and all of that. I said, yeah, I understand. But, you know, if we talk about horror, I love it, but no zombies, no cheap stuff like that. I said, no. I said, Joe, it's more like Dario Argento kind of horror. And Joe looked at me. And of course, he was amazed that I know who Dario Argento is. First, he didn't tell me that, of course. I said, Dario Argento? I said, yeah, it's that kind of movie. And that's when Joe got interested. You know, in a couple of months, we started Night of the Caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
And how was the casting process? Did you, like when you casted Eileen, did you know that's who you wanted, or did you go through a few people before you got to her?
You know, it was Joe's idea because Joe's a huge fan of William Friedkin and Exorcist, of course. And you saw Night of the Caregiver. When you see Eileen in our film, she's as far as possible from Pazuzu, who made her famous from Exorcist. I mean, come on, she's just sweet. She's amazing. She will make you cookies and she will smile. Yeah, so we should give credit to this gentleman over here. It was his idea. I actually, I was happy to invite Eric Roberts. You know,
because you worked together before, right? With Eric.
We did, and he's an amazing guy, and he still has all that movie star charisma. He still has everything in him, and maybe you will tell a little bit about your experience of working with him as an actor.
It was great. He is very calm, smooth, focused, comes in, boom, total pro. And I like to tell this because you never really, sometimes if you're working with an actor you've never met before, sometimes you don't know what you're in for, you know, and anything can happen. I mean, some of us actors are real Lulus, right? I've worked with a few, but we had another location we were filming at for the scenes. I have 2 scenes with him, and they're very key scenes for the development of the film itself. And so I'm thinking about this, and I got to the location early, and I'm pacing up and down, and I'm watching my DP get everything set up, and I never get nervous. I can't tell you why. I could get up in front of an audience, I could grab a microphone, I could sing, I could dance, well, not necessarily that, but sometimes. And, but I don't really suffer from anything like stage fright, which is actually very common. And it's a good thing to get because it means you care if you get stage fright. That's what Sinatra used to say. And so I started getting a little bit, I'm working with this heavyweight, and now I started, oh my God, and psyching myself out, right? A few minutes later, here he comes. There's this long flight of stairs that go up to this house we're filming at. And here he is with his wife, and he goes, "You must be Joe." And almost like that, it just put me at ease.
Yeah.
And he was so easy, and he was funny, and he had great stories.
You know what I felt when he was on screen, even when you were on screen, it felt like old Hollywood to me. It just felt.
Thanks.
I can't explain it, but like, you know, in a good way, it felt like that old traditional Hollywood film when both you were on screen, you know, on screen. I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah.
You know, and it just, and this everything, just the film, just everything blended together. And I didn't know what to think about, you know, getting back to Eileen, that character, because she was so sweet. I didn't know what to expect. So it was that part was great. Because I didn't know whether she was good, whether she was bad, both. It was just.
Well, that's the idea.
Yeah. I didn't know, and I'm usually somewhat good at figuring that stuff out, but I really didn't know what to expect. So.
Well, I'm glad that worked, because one thing that has come back to us in recent days since the film has been released officially is that a lot of people say that about the picture, that, you know, where it starts out, you don't see where it's going. I hope that comes through, and you don't anticipate these turns that it's going to take for the worse for these characters.
Yeah, no, it turned out great, and I
Thank you.
the ending was good too. I think it was the proper ending. Was that the original one you guys had intended for, or was there something else prior to that?
We had several variations on the ending, and we filmed all of them, but we chose the one we chose because he and I talked about it at length and thought this is the way to end this.
Oh yeah, and there's a special bonus, as you saw, kind of like a bonus epilogue in the end of the film. Yeah, it's just again for me, because I had less work on that film compared to Joe.
Yeah,
complete joy, just complete joy, and not just to put it all together and just to watch Joe shooting it and everything, but also those stories you guys mentioned, and I mean Eileen Dietz telling the stories about working with Billy Friedkin.
Yeah,
Roberts, of course, with Joe, he was talking more about those movies they both like and everything. With me, of course, I asked him how was it to work on Expendables, and and you know, when he was working with Stallone, and when he was doing the movie for Ralph Mueller, Best of the Best 2, and all of that.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
And great thing about him, he was amazing in all those movies, and he's still amazing. And it doesn't matter if he's doing an independent film or studio film, he's always there 100%. And again, in between takes, he will just entertain you with all those amazing Hollywood stories, as well as Eileen, and as well as Natalie. Natalie did a great job.
Yeah.
But biggest credit goes to Mr. Joe Cornet, because as well as we spoke a couple of years ago about Black Rose, I mean, just to do it all at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an unbelievable job. And
I couldn't imagine.
It's the biggest compliment. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine wearing all those hats, and it came out good. And I hope that since it was a good experience for both of you, are we going to see more horror films from you two?
For sure. Right?
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
And maybe one more thing for all horror fans who are watching you, who's reading your website, who is watching your podcasts and all of that. So many people now just dream. They dream about Hollywood. They dream about being in movies. They dream about doing something one day. They shouldn't wait. They should just push for their dream. It's all doable. You did it in journalism. We did it in independent filmmaking. If we all succeed, other people could do it as well. And we should all fight those negativity. There's so much of the negativity right now, everywhere. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, it's a strange time, but we should bring more positivity. And what can be better positivity than good movies, right?
Exactly.
So just push for more.
And let me add to that, in talking about pushing for a dream.
Look at that.
Is my second movie camera, Super 8 millimeter.
Wow.
As you see.
Yeah.
And when I was about 15 years of age, I took this thing everywhere with me, and I filmed all kinds of things. Never in my wildest dreams would I be helming productions like this.
Yeah.
It was many years after this camera, but that's what he's talking about.
Yeah. No, I agree. It makes total sense. And sometimes you can use that negativity to your advantage. And like you said, push forward.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Oh yeah.
And like people have been telling me lately, make yourself uncomfortable, do uncomfortable things, challenge yourself. And
oh yeah.
That's also important. And I'm sure you guys did that too. And you've done that throughout your career. And now you have that product.
And now it's all complete fun. It is still hard work. But to be honest with you, I cannot even consider this work. I mean, it's not work, it's all dream. But it's also huge fun, right? It's all fun all the way.
And I know our time's just about up. Is there anything you're working on right now?
Actually, our new Western, Taken from Rio Bravo, which is a sequel to Gunfight, is
Okay.
almost done. It will be completely finished this fall, and hopefully we will announce release very soon. And actually, right now we're thinking about another horror movie. Rick.
Yes.
Horror movie. So hopefully, next time we talk, we have another horror film. But before we're done, I think we should, because you have that monster behind you over there for everyone to watch, I think we should just thank our makeup team, great makeup team who made it all possible. Maria, exactly. Maria Brew, and also Elliot Gurin, who was a special effect artist, and those red eyes, actually that was my idea. I told him, you know what? Joe has his homage to Dario Argento and to Billy Friedkin. I said, you know what? Let's have an homage to the Terminator. And that's how we got that red eyes into the monster, So it's exactly like that.
Oh, I love that trivia. That is awesome.
Thank you.
And I know you brought up Arnold earlier, but he was in End of Days, and that was kind of a horror film.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
And Predator, I mean, come on. Predator is a horror film.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, amazing horror film.
Yeah.
But most importantly, thank you very much for supporting us and supporting my films and now our films and supporting independent filmmakers.
Yeah.
Because it's very important to be supportive in that industry, and what you're doing is great, you and your colleagues. So thank you very much.
And some of our best films out there are from independent.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So
Exactly.
I never forget that. And and thank you for reaching out to me. It's been like 6 years,
Yes.
and I was thrilled because I got it in my inbox and I was reading through it actually that night. So yeah, that was great.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you very much. We'll be in touch.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Hopefully you will enjoy our humors. And you know what? We know you're a huge fan of horror and everything, but we'll send you our new Western as well. So you will just check it out and let us know your opinion. Okay?
No, I will. I'll definitely check it out. And hey, you never know. I might become a Western guy now. You never know.
I mean, if I became a Western guy, I mean, come on, look at me. I mean, Mr. Universe from Russia now in a Western movie. And I think it worked because of Joe. And same thing with horror. One day, I hope I will also act in a horror because I think it will be also dream come true. But again, we're really glad that you enjoyed Night of the Caregiver.
Thank you. And both of you, Alexander and Joe, I really appreciate it for taking the time out and talking with me. So
thank you for your support and kind contributions and words.
And congratulations to you both. This is great.
Thank you very much, Rick. Thank you.
Have a good weekend,
okay?
What was that?
Have a great weekend.
Oh, I will. Thank you.
Have a great weekend. You probably will watch a lot of great horror movies this weekend.
Yes, and I might start checking out those Westerns. And you're in LA, right? Both of you right now?
Yes.
So, yeah, watch out for that rain. I heard we're getting that hurricane.
There's no sign of it right now.
You know, it will not stop us for sure. That's for sure.
All right, you guys take care.
All right.
Thank you
Thanks
again
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.